Yeah. So hi everyone, my name's Nick Gray. I'm a Cisco Solutions Engineer. Today I'm going to show you around the future-proof workplace lounge. We're going to do a bit of a tour for the team at Natilik, and a lot of the technology you're going to see today, you can work with Natilik as a partner to actually have this technology deployed in your own offices. So first of all, we're going to start with the navigator. So if you look on the wall here, we've got a navigator. This navigator gives us information about what's happening in a meeting room, and what that device is doing to the left, it has cameras. So the device to the left is called a Cisco Board Pro. And the Board Pro can detect, if you come in a bit closer, you'll see that it's detecting one person in the room, and we get this indication underneath with a red light to determine that the meeting's booked. You'll also notice temperature details, and we'll touch on that a little bit later. So we'll just move on to the Board Pro over here. So what this is showing you, and this is actually something Natilik have in their offices as well, this is Cisco Spaces. So what we did is specifically for this event is we built Cisco Spaces map, and the map is the setup of the stand that we're on right now. So what you can see on here is some details. So we can see this is a WebEx lounge. We've got 3 available meeting rooms. One of them's occupied. And we can see this over here. We have a room finder. So if you want to find a specific room, and you can navigate to those as well. Over here, if we tap on the offices, I can see that the office behind this wall is available. There's currently no one in that room. And we can also see things like the room temperature. So if you come in a little bit closer, you'll see that the air quality is fair. We've got a good room temperature and the humidity is okay. But with this data, we can do things. And what I mean by that is you could control building management systems to turn lights on and off. And you could also control air conditioning. Now someone's actually sat in that room the other side. So now we can see that the room's occupied as if by magic. So when we move around to that side of the room, you'll see that there's probably 2 people sat there. So if you follow me around this side of the room. So as we come around this side, this is a normal TV screen. And above the TV screen, you can see the Roombar Pro. Sorry, the Roombar, Cisco Roombar. Now this can run in Microsoft Teams room. This can also run in WebEx. In WebEx mode, we call that Room OS. Just above the TV and the Roombar, you'll see a light. And that light actually came on as I came into this area, because the camera is detecting how many people are in this space right now. And it says, look, there's someone in the room, turn the lights on. Now, the indication of that data is fed back to something called Control Hub, which is the management layer. And this data is shown on the panels. So this panel is just like the one you've seen behind. Now, just above the Roombar, you can see this device is called Inspector, and this is made by a company called MHT. Now, MHT are powering a light from the switch. At this point, I don't know if you want to come in a little bit closer, but this is a PoE. This is an Ethernet cable from our switch. This is then going into this MHT device, and then we can power up to 4 lights per port. So they have some adapters. Now, the reason this is so good is the power is being delivered via DC rather than AC, so you don't need to have a traditional electrician install this. This is installed just by typically a cabling engineer, or some of the teams at Natilik could do this for you. So we're just going to move on to another part of the demo. So what we've got over here, so this is also the same device, but the mode that this is working in is working with a blind. To my left hand side, you'll see a couple of lights here. So this one here, these lights are on because the blind is down. Now this sensor is a light sensor. This is only here for the expo, right, at Cisco Live, just because we can't control the natural light. But if I put my hand over this sensor, just keep a keen eye on the lights to my left. So you'll see when I do this, it's showing you that there's now light in the building, and to the left hand side you'll notice that the lights went off. So this is automated. Now the good thing about this is, and what I've learned over time, and you'll see the blind go down, is that the biggest cost of energy in most companies is lighting, heating and air conditioning. It makes up over 52%. So if you can control the lights and the blinds automatically, what you can also do things is follow the sun. So there's some other technology. So if we have the sun as an API into the systems, we can say put the blinds down and it'll keep the building cooler. But you can go a step further. What you can do is have solar panels or solar blinds, and these blinds can attract the energy and then pump that back into the grid. So that's something that's absolutely fantastic. What we've done here is with this light, this is to represent the sun and the moon, just for the purpose of a demo. Now just over here on the left hand side, we have a number of devices. So I'm just going to show you some of these. So this device here is made by a company called Contact.io. So Contact.io, what they do is they provide devices that connect to our Cisco access points via something called BLE. Now, an example that I could give you is you would wear this on you as a lanyard, and these buttons here are pressable buttons, and you can configure these to do a number of things. So one of the things might be a location and put an alert out and put a notification on screens. And that could be done in manufacturing as an example, but the possibilities with these things are endless. Asset tracking might be one. So these are just a couple. There are many on the market, but reach out to Natilik and they'll give you a bit more detail around these devices. Now the other thing that we have on this table here is an up and down table, and this table is actually programmed. So we've got a program screen down there, but this will go up and down based on PoE. So if I just show you on this side, you can just see that we've got this panel here, just a normal up and down desk, and we can move the desk up and down electronically, as you can see here. So if I just move this chair, we'll just get you to see that if you look underneath, you'll see the Ethernet cable, and this Ethernet cable is plugged into the desk to give us power. Now, another thing that you'll notice on here is we've got a PC screen, or just a monitor. This monitor is actually made by a company called IST based in the UK. They've provided the kit to be on the stand, and this monitor is powered via PoE. To the left of this, we've got a Cisco handset. This handset, like most Cisco handsets, is PoE. So everything on this desk, with the exception of the laptop in this scenario, is powered via PoE. The reality is we can also power laptops via PoE. We just need to have what's called the USB-C adapters, and then you'll plug those in. But this is just a bit of an older laptop for this example. You'll also see on the screen here, we've got some other bits and pieces. So if you come in a bit closer, what we're showing here is a snapshot, and this snapshot is taken from some of the cameras we've got on the stand, and I'm just going to talk to you around that scenario right now. If I could just squeeze in here. So what we've got here is an MT15 sensor. Just above this, we've got a Cisco access point. Now this access point, one of the things that we did last year was allow those access points to be connected to the Meraki dashboards, and that was a new innovation, or Catalyst Center. So our customers now have a choice. 85% of customers actually use Meraki dashboards, but the reality is you can choose between the two. Now obviously we've got the sensor below, which is the MT15. Now if you want to come in a little bit closer, you'll see that this is an indoor air quality, CO2, temperature and noise sensor. So some of the examples that I've spoken to the teams while I've been doing demos on here is around these sensors. So the example was, if you've got some people, children for instance, vaping, maybe in a toilet in a secondary school, you can't put a camera in a toilet quite evidently, right? But what you can do is put a sensor in the toilet. What you could then do is trigger the sensor when it detects vape. When it detects vape and when someone leaves the building, we can have either a door sensor or a timer. And from that, what we can then do is send out something like this image, a video, or a clip. Send it to Microsoft Teams or WebEx or any of those collaboration platforms. So I think for a use case, that's really, really cool. We've got some other things on here as well. We've got some Meraki buttons as well. So these buttons can be programmed to do pretty much whatever you want. So what we've got is one of the buttons is actually programmed to take a snapshot of a video, and we've got an override button for some of the lights on the stand. So again, you can use these. There could be feedback buttons, right? So as we come around this side, what you'll see here, so this is the only hardware that Splunk do. Splunk's been a large acquisition for us, and for me personally, I've learned so much working with the Splunk team in the last couple of weeks. But this device is pretty cool. So this device, if you just zoom in a little bit here, you'll see it's got various things on here. So we've got a light sensor. So if I put my thumb over here, you'll see that this information is going down. So you can trigger something. It's also got an accelerometer and a gyroscope. So think manufacturing. These things can have sensors connected to them to detect movement or shaking. So maybe something like a a robotic arm that might move, and if there was an issue with it, you could send a message to one of the Splunk dashboards. You can scroll through these. There's many sensors in this, but you can also put external sensors like this temperature one, and there's a lot of other older technologies out there that don't have IP connections, so you can use this as an aggregation point to then connect that into the Splunk dashboard. Just above, we've got one of the cameras, the Meraki MV cameras. These are absolutely fantastic with local storage. But the reality is, as you start to connect all these technologies together, you can do a lot more with them. So as we come around here, this is our NOC. So we've got a number of screens, as you'll see here. So on this top screen, this is the Thousand Eyes overview panel. So this is showing global outages. Now the nice thing with Thousand Eyes is the ability to see what's going on with the network, not just internally, but externally. So SaaS applications like Microsoft 365, Netflix, Workday, Salesforce.com, if you have challenges with these. So Thousand Eyes is a great product. I would reach out to the team at Natilik and ask them about that, because I know Natilik have a large number of customers that use our networking technologies along with our collaboration. And the nice thing now is these technologies are now working together. So on the bottom section here, this is WebEx Control Hub. And WebEx Control Hub is the management layer. The management layer is where we configure things like WebEx calling and contact center and the devices. So some of the data you saw earlier on with the number of people in the rooms and the temperature, all of that data is fed back to Control Hub. So as we move down this way, what we've got up here is this is the Meraki portal. So as I just explained with that MT15 sensor around the vaping, you can see this one that says TVOC. So that's the CO2 sensors and the oxygen sensors. If this meets a certain threshold, you can send an alert. So you've got to think that, there's so many possibilities with this technology, and that's just some of the examples of a use case that I've talked around. Now what the team at Splunk have done is created this interface, okay? So what they've done here is created specifically this dashboard, and this dashboard's got Cisco news feeds coming through, so we've got data there, we've got security news and traffic news in the local area of Amsterdam. What we've also got is the booth metrics. So the reality is, when you have events like this, it's really good to know footfall and the amount of people that are here. So on this booth metrics, all the data you can see, and you may want to zoom in a bit on this, but you can see the door sensors that we have is showing the doors open and close. We're seeing the temperature. So this is all being taken from things like Thousand Eyes, from WebEx, and from our devices. Now, this display that we're currently using, if you just come up here, is made by a company called FinLabs. FinLabs have created a device here that is quite a large screen, as you can see, but it's also a PC in its own right. So we're not showing the keyboards and mouse, but if I move over to this one's also made by FinLabs. And the nice thing about these 4 screens is they're all powered via PoE, right? So that's the story here with these devices. So what we've also got on here is another Splunk dashboard. So this dashboard I absolutely love. This is pulling data again from all the sources, but you can see the kilowatt usage, you can see if doors are open, the HVAC system are on. So, the possibilities, as I said, with things like Splunk is to create your own data feeds and where these could be used. So an example could be a door sensor might be put on a door, and you want to see how many times the toilet's been used. So therefore, do I need to send a cleaner to clean those toilets? Just as an example. Or if you wanted to see the kilowatt usage and then start to put a numeric value of cost on it, should I look to move my energy provider? So these are all things that you can take, and these can help with sustainability goals. Now the final thing that we've got, if we just look in this window, is this. So if we look up here, power your network for the future. Make it simple, secure, resilient and sustainable. So as we pan down, you'll see that all of this stuff is powered by this Cisco switch, the 9300 switch that we have down here. Now this switch has also got a number of spare ports, but you can see there's that module called an inspector module, and that's what those drivers are using. We've got our internet access going into the Meraki box, and finally the switch. Now the final thing I want to show you is, once you've chosen all that technology, you might say, well, what collaboration kit should I put in those rooms? So if you come around here, we're going to show you this. Now this is available to you as a customer, but you can also reach out to the team at Natilik, or you can do this yourself, right? So this is just a web page. I'm sure the team will put a link on their website, but whether you've got a huddle room, a small room, a medium-sized room, an executive boardroom, what you can do with this designer, and this is just an application, it's actually a web page running on the Desk Pro, which is another one of our devices, But what you can see here is we've got a meeting room, and this meeting room has a certain dimension. And a lot of people kind of say, well, what kit do I need in what room? So what you can do here is you can adjust the size of the width of the room and the room sizes and the lengths and the height of the ceilings. If we hit next, what we can then choose is the type of table. Now, the taper tables are much better, but you can click on each of these and see, you know, the different views. So on a taper table, it gives you a better viewing angle. So if you've ever taken a group photo in a restaurant, it's very difficult for people in those photos. So that's why we suggest the taper table. Now, Cisco is not a table manufacturer, but it's just a recommendation. Now, as we click next, you then choose the platform of choice. So Natilik can offer both Microsoft Teams and Cisco WebEx. There's two platforms, and our devices now run both of these and have done for the last year to 18 months. So we've got the Cisco version on Microsoft Teams. It's completely up to you. Now, the reality is, as you choose one of these, even if you choose to start on Microsoft Teams and you feel, actually, I want one in Cisco Room OS, the reality is you can, you know, move and change that. So as we go through this, we choose the views that we want to have, the type of kit, with whether I want dual screens or multiple screens, what microphones I want. So if I choose the wrong type of microphone, what will happen at the end is I'll get an error on here. So I'll just show you that. So if you look down this left-hand side, you can see this little amber part. So this is saying the microphone, the coverage, you know, isn't necessarily going to cover everything quite completely. So it might be better to put a ceiling microphone in there. So it just gives you a bit of an example of how useful this tool can be. And you can see this under the tip section as well. So it's saying, look, it's optimal camera coverage, but marginal microphone coverage. So you can make sure that you're making the right decision about the technology before you put it in. The final thing you can do here is hit View Blueprint, and what this will do is give you a bill of materials. And this is what the team at Natilik would work with Cisco on to procure and actually deploy. My name's Nick Gray, and thanks for your time, and I'll speak to you later.